So, you guys, seriously, this next thing I feel is very special. This is a cool little segment. Please give it up.
'Cause my sex junk is so much more than either.
Welcome to Polecat cast number 118, Chicago vs. Milo, an Emmy for Sex Junk, and Mrs. Doctor Who, where our stealthy polecats ferret out the best feels, funnies, and what the fucks to discuss Slam Bam Badger style. Today's show will be broadcast from my little corner of YouTube, as well as will future Polecat shows until further notice. It will take me a little time to get into the swing of things, and some may question if I have the cojones to host an HBR show on my channel, but if you'll hang in there the way that I do, and don't get testes, I'm sure that we can have a ball of a time. The Grape of Wrath is ready. Today's Polecat panel consists of the big half of Big and Robot, Scott the Silverback Self-Aware Simian, Polecat Punster and Pussycat Punisher Hannah, Dr. Ranarukam, Panda, Puppet Master, and Long Range Rhetorician, and me, your host, the Supreme Doge in Charge, with, the Lone Ranger, the one,
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson, all that. Or Einstein, as I like to call him, which means one stone in German. Today we'll be discussing the following topics, so keep your spunk bunker in your pants. It looks like Milo's new book, Dangerous, has been making waves, and it's not even out yet. But this dude had the plums to advertise it on public transportation in one of the cities that he got the most flack from. Which one? My own Chicago. We good, we good. What you got to say? Doctor Who has been running for over 50 years and has seen over a dozen men play the titular role of the Doctor. In the wake of dropping ratings and lame episodes, it's time for a change. New writers, perhaps? Maybe take the character into a fresh new direction in terms of development? How about a world-changing event that can affect the lives of millions of characters? Nah, let's just give him lady bits. That'll fix all the problems. Then again, there is no such thing as lady bits, you cis-normative scumbag. We know this because Bill Nye's new series, Bill Nye Saves the World, not a hyperbolic title at all for a show, Bill, is up for an Emmy Award this year because of its sex junk episode. This will not only validate how poorly received the show was, but it makes untrue things true when you win awards for it, right? Affinity magazine, a progressive feminist website for teen girls, has published an article entitled, "We Must Stand Up Against Kekistan." Well then, this means mean jihad. Let's give this a read, for Kek wills it. And finally, our bonus story for the patron-only after show. Disney has been remaking all of their classic animated films into what seems to be less than stellar or imaginative live-action shadows of their former selves. And in some progressive politics, or add in some progressive politics, rather, and you get black French aristocrats in Beauty and the Beast and a solemn promise that Aladdin will not have white people in it. Unfortunately, they didn't do enough inclusion or tolerance because Jasmine has been cast and social justice warriors are outraged online. Who'da thunk it? It's almost like they can't be satisfied. And here I thought the biggest letdown was casting Will Smith as the genie. No, I'm not kidding. Will Smith is supposed to replace Robin Williams. In the words of Lucius Fox, good luck. Anyway, if you'd like to participate in our after shows either as an audience member or a participant, please consider becoming a patron at www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio.
If you're listening to this after the live show and you want to hear the full stream, go to www.honeybadgerradio.com for our unabridged podcasts, or look up to the right of this video. There's a link to go directly to the unabridged version on YouTube.
We are ready to get into the stories, but before we do, I have to mention there was a breaking story that I got as I was setting things up, so I'm going to have to give a mention to that. It appears that there is a new bill that has just been introduced to Congress here in the United States. It is H.R. 2796, the Civil Rights Uniformity Act of 2017. It is currently only in the introduction stage, so it hasn't seen any other progress. This is just breaking, really. So what is H.R. 2796? Well, there's just a short little blurb that I'm going to read, and I'll give it to the floor if you guys want to give any comments on it. The Civil Rights Uniformity Act of 2017. This bill prohibits the word sex or gender from being interpreted to mean gender identity, and requires man or woman to be interpreted to refer exclusively to a person's genetic sex for purposes determining the meaning of federal civil rights laws or related federal administrative agency regulations or guidance. No federal civil rights law shall be interpreted to treat gender identity or transgender status as a protected class, unless it expressly designates gender identity or transgender status as a protected class. So tell us about Milo's book, Dangerous.
Well, the provocative extraordinaire Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo Yamana Hamana Hamana.
Yeah, habita. His book, Dangerous, was released earlier this July. Already surrounded by quite a bit of controversy leading up to its release, it is not free from public controversy after the release. In Chicago, the Chicago Transit Authority has ads put up at Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Has ads put up at public transit stops. While the ads were rather plain, the text, the number one bestseller the media tried to destroy, that didn't stop people from expressing their anger with the ads. Some Chicagoans urged others to file complaints with the CTA. In a statement to the Chicagoist, the CTA said, CTA cannot prohibit commercial advertising. In this case, advertising for a sale of a book by a political person based simply on that person's political viewpoint. Our ad guidelines prohibit ads for products, services, or activities that are illegal, as well as advertising that is in and of itself disparaging, insulting, degrading, or offensive. For more than 25 years, the CTA has had well-defined guidelines that prohibited ads that are untruthful, misleading, disparaging, or have mature content, including the depiction of nudity or sexual content. Acceptance of advertisement does not constitute CTA's endorsement of a product or service. However, while the CTA has taken down the book advertisements, the DC Metro...
They have not. Sorry.
Oh, whoops.
The CTA has not taken it down. It's okay.
I am a fucking mess. Apologies. However, while the CTA has not taken down the book advertisements, the DC Metro had decided to take down advertisements after receiving similar backlash earlier this month. Originally, the Metro had actually planned to keep the advertisements up, responding to complaints with. The display of this ad is consistent with Metro's policy of remaining content neutral when accepting advertising. Although Metro understands that feelings and perceptions will vary among individuals within the community, we cannot reject advertising because some find it inappropriate or offensive. After being inundated with complaints, DC Metro manually reviewed the advertisement and changed its tune. Metro then claimed that there were two guidelines violated. 1. Advertisements intended to influence members of the public regarding an issue on which their varying opinions are prohibited, and 2. Advertisements that are intended to influence public policy are prohibited. The CTA had a similar guideline prohibiting advertisements expressing or advocating an opinion, position, or viewpoint on matters of public debate about economical, political, religious, or social issues are prohibited. So, while the CTA has not removed the advertisement yet, there is still the possibility that the CTA could follow DC Metro's lead.
Have you heard the news about the decades-old entertainment franchise that has enormous impact on pop culture in the Western countries, and has recently changed its historically male protagonist into a female one, causing it to have a future that is otherwise uncertain? No, I don't mean Rey from Star Wars, obviously. I mean the Doctor from 50-plus-year-old BBC television series Doctor Who. Actress Jodie Whittaker has been chosen to play the role of the enigmatic and often quirky Doctor on the long-running series, which has up until now always been played by men in the series canon. On the decision, there were a lot of people at the BBC patting themselves on the back as well as eating the ass of the actress for her bravery and how she is an in-demand, funny, inspiring, super smart force of nature and will bring loads of wit, strength, and warmth to the role. Jodie Whittaker said of the new direction for her own career, "It feels completely overwhelming. As a feminist, as a woman, as an actor, as a human," I guess she just figured that out too, "as someone who wants to continually push themselves and challenge themselves and not be boxed in boxed in by what you're told you can and cannot be. I want to tell the fans not to be scared by my gender, she said.
Oh, thank God she cleared that one up.
Yeah, that's why she told everybody she was a feminist, right? Because
Yeah.
she doesn't want to be boxed in by what she's told she can and can't be.
Because this...
Jesus.
Because this is a really exciting time, and Doctor Who represents everything that's exciting about change, the fans have lived through so many changes, and this is only a new, different one, but not a fearful one, she added. Not 24 hours after the announcement, the media took to Twitter and other social media spaces to mine for misogynists and fragile cavemen who might take issue with the casting in an effort to virtue signal with stories and viral-style videos made to respond to arguments nobody is making. They didn't really find any. Undeterred, they went ahead and presumed they must be out there, despite the fact that most of the people who are unhappy don't actually hate women. They just presumed that the Doctor is a male and thought that the change was made for ideological or tokenish reasons as opposed to narrative ones. Plus, many of these anti-feminist dissenters were women themselves. But the media went ahead and made their narcissistic, self-righteous clickbait anyway. I mean, how else are you going to get clicks and make money? So what do we think about a new Doctor that is female? Well, I can't speak for all the Badgers, but I will give my thoughts. The show almost always sees a fluctuation of fans leaving and new ones adopting the franchise whenever a new Doctor regenerates into the show. Change in general causes this to happen. When Peter Capaldi was announced as the new Doctor in 2013, female viewers of the show were upset and stopped watching because he was old and yucky. Unlike the One Direction-style Doctors Matt Smith and David Tennant, who were just dreamy that preceded him. These changes always affect ratings for a while, then things usually settle down. The problem is, however, ratings have been dropping sharply since the last series, or as we call them in the States, season. As a result of genuinely groan-worthy writing and the tired virtue signaling that goes on. Not because of who the Doctor is, as Peter Capaldi is still a very talented actor, he's just unfortunately stuck playing Doctor Who during a slump. It's almost as if regular viewers don't want to watch a sermon, they want to watch entertaining sci-fi. But how is Whittaker's Doctor going to be different? And how can I possibly know it will be if the show hasn't even started yet? Well, the fact is, I don't know. It could be great, to be perfectly honest, and I hope that it would be, but I have my thoughts. And here's why. Because writing female characters when you're a feminist ideologue inherently limits what you can do with the character. The Doctor has historically been quirky and weird, and often the butt of jokes at times. He is brilliant, but also very alien, which is the reason companions come along. They represent humanity for the Doctor, and they are often his moral compass. A female character that isn't a strong moral center is extremely difficult for feminist types to write, as they can only see women in the context of how they are affected and victimized. Therefore, they will always have some moral superiority over everyone else around them. On top of that, female characters can never be the butt of some joke. It would make the women's look bad, and we can't have that. There will be challenges when it comes to adversity and suffering, as putting a woman through physical and mental trauma could be seen as promoting violence against women, and we can't have that if we want to be good little feminist allies, right? See, my problem isn't that the Doctor is going to be a woman. My problem is that when you couple that with feminist writing, and believe me, Moffat and his team are feminists, you will get a timid and spineless product that will effectively neuter any potential for good storytelling, drama, and a good sci-fi show could have in exchange for a show that may only exist as a mouthpiece for feminist soapbox talking points projected through a fetish doll made specifically to deliver the sermon. And the worst part is, if I'm right, the show will tank after 50 plus years, and it'll be a woman's fault.
With the 2017 Emmy Awards drawing closer, a full list of all the nominations has emerged. The top of the list has the shows one would expect to see nominated, shows like Stranger Things, House of Cards, and Westworld. But if you dig far enough down into the category of writing for a nonfiction program, you find that Bill Nye Saves the World has been nominated, and yes, it was for that episode. For the 5 of you out there unaware, the episode in question centered around the idea that sexuality is on a spectrum, and to drive home the point, 9 listed the help of special musical guest Rachel Bloom, who performed a cringe-tastic song entitled Sex Junk. The fallout from the performance was enough to make Nye the laughingstock of the internet for a few weeks to follow, stripping him of his last shreds of respectability in the process. While Nye may be the worst offender on While Nye may be the worst offender on the list, he has some stiff competition. Other progressive celebs on the list of nominations, such as Sarah Silverman, Samantha Bee, Meryl Streep, and Stephen Colbert, who is also hosting, should tell you exactly what kind of award show this is going to be. So expect another Hollywood elite circle jerk with plenty of hashtag resisting. Just like Just like Meryl Streep's speech at the 2017 Golden Globes, and calls to punch people who don't politically agree with you, just like David Harbour's speech at the 2017 Screen Actors Guild Awards, because this trend seems here to stay.
A United Kingdom-based domestic abuse center is going through a change in their branding. The Northampton-based organization Women's Aid is changing its name to Northamptonshire Domestic Abuse Service in an effort to be more inclusive to male victims of domestic violence.
Wait, what? There's male victims of domestic violence?
And they're actually going to include them, which is insane.
Right?
Okay, so a joint CEO of the organization, Anne Bodsworth, a fucking woman, stated, "I hope that it will displace any myths that we don't work with men. And we just hope that we can offer a really good resource in the county for male victims across the country." Of the 6,800 cases of domestic abuse recording last year in Northamptonshire, 1/4 of them were against men. This comes from a website called AffinityMagazine.us, which is a feminist magazine or a feminist website for teen girls mainly. And the article is entitled, "We Must Stand Up Against Kekistan" by Malia Rolt. Now, this is pretty funny. We're going to go through it, okay? But I want to know, is this real or is this a Poe? So I'm going to go ahead and read the article. And the funny thing is, if this is fake, okay, it is being published on a legit feminist website that fell for the troll. So this is a win-win either way, because even if it's real, this is some stranger than fiction type shit. So let's go ahead and go through it. Anyone who discusses politics or social justice on social media must have come across an account with Pepe the Frog as their icon, or the word Kek or Kekistan at some point. This often leads to confusion as to what these people are trying to achieve. But as Roaming Millennial says, Kekistan is actually not a joke. It is a serious, ongoing human rights issue. Kekistan must not be taken lightly because they are threatening the rights of many, and here's how. First of all, Kekistanis worship Pepe the Frog. The once innocent cartoon meme has been hijacked to become a symbol of white supremacy, the alt-right, and neo-Nazism. If they can hijack memes, it begs the question as to what else they can hijack. The government? That sounds absurd at first, but then you realize that Kekistanis also overwhelmingly support Donald Trump, who embraces white supremacy, the alt-right, and neo-Nazism with no shame. No shame. None. I have nothing. I don't care about that at all. Despite the fact that Kekistan is not internationally recognized as a country, that does not diminish their power and ability to completely ruin an already deeply divided country. Kekistanis... I just want to say thank you, memes. You put me here. I won't forget you. You're tremendous people. Tremendous. Believe me.
The United Shitposters of America.
Kekistanis have been notorious for harassing people online, but specifically left-wingers, women, people of color, and LGBT plus people. Their values greatly differ from us decent American people. And,
Dear God.
and they are ruthless in their pursuit of power, overthrowing democracy and targeting many millennials' mental health, damaging them psychologically or mentally. The invasion of the Kekastanis prove it too late to build a wall to keep out fascism, and frighten many, admittedly, including myself. However, we must hide our fears and stand up against Kekistan. And if that involves violence in order to keep ourselves safe, then so be it. Everyone. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, feminists, or even if you are an apolitical person who believes in basic humanity, we must unite in order to fight hate. We must unite in order to fight Kekistan. If we are snowflakes, then the weather forecast suggests a brutal snow blizzard in Kekistan very, very soon. That's all I got. We're going to move on to the final... Well, we're going to go ahead and close out the show and go ahead and do the bonus story. I'm sorry that the turnout was not as much as usual, but it's probably because this is my dinky-ass channel that I haven't done much on. Hopefully, though, we'll see more traffic get driven this way, as we did put an ad on the main HBR channel. This is how things are going to have to be, it would seem, for the foreseeable future until we get the community strike removed, which, as it stands, isn't going anywhere until October. But please direct your friends towards my channel to continue watching Polecats, and if I'm running them, Pussycat Cast as well. Yeah, just subscribe and join us, and if I get to 1,000, I'll be able to turn on Super Chat, which could be kind of cool. But I normally don't use my channel for much, but I will try to host here at least until HBR is back up and running and can stream again. So I guess we'll just go ahead and close out. But before we do, I'll let you guys know what we're talking about. I already mentioned it before. Disney is being criticized for casting a non-Arab actor as Princess Jasmine in their live-action Aladdin movie. This woman looks white, but she is British and Indian. So, brown enough? But anyway, we'll get back to that. She certainly looks like she could fit the role fine. Although I don't really like their live-action Disney movies anyway, so I don't care about this that much. Anyway, moving on. So I just want to say thank you to Hannah, Mike, and Scott for joining us, even though Mike didn't say anything, but that's okay. And I want to thank Mike, Jay, and Andrew for helping me with the write-ups. And I want to thank feminism, social justice, and the entertainment community for giving us stories to talk about. Without you guys, I wouldn't have a job. Thank you so much for that. And you guys who are watching, please give me comments. Tell me about Doctor Who. How do you like my rant? Tell me about fucking Bill Nye and all the other stuff that we discussed. We will talk to you guys on the next Polecat or Pussycat show. Have a good evening.